Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. I am so excited about this show topic that we're doing. It is about evolving, having a discussion about evolving in the year of the dragon, 2024. After the attention around the new year wanes, how do we pivot and continue to evolve with this year's cycles of energy? And how can exploring the dragon myths and stories and movements help us to hear old patterns and grow into new possibilities? Is what Annie McDonnell is here to support us with in this talk today. And she's being featured here on the KS Media Group. She is our favorite acupuncturist and also grief counselor, grief therapist, grief coach. And we have Annie here, and we also have Karen Lubin here from the Lubin Lifeline. She's also here as well. So hi, ladies.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So it's hard to believe, right? Because we did this call. When was that? In February or maybe early March we did the call, you think?
The Lunar New Year was around February 10th, so I think we did it just right before then. So it's been 3 months almost.
So we've had the dragon energy for 3 months now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that you're bringing this topic forward, because I think we get very hung up on the new year being kind of a static event. You know, the calendar turns the page and we have a party, or we set a resolution, and then we just kind of forget about it. It's easy to forget about it and get swept up in whatever's next, or whatever new hashtag there is on social media, that today's the National Pizza Day or whatever. We're always on to the next thing. But the energy of the year is still here, either making things more difficult as we push against it, or boosting us up if we're working with it. So I think it's helpful to keep tuning into the energy and how the energy is changing. Just for a reminder for people, the Year of the Dragon, which started back in February, is considered very auspicious in traditional Chinese medicine and mythology. The dragon is the only mythical animal in the Chinese zodiac, and dragons obviously have millennia worth of mythology around them, and people are still fascinated to this day. So it's interesting to see why myths survive and what individual relevance they have to each of us, different aspects of the story. It's also a wood dragon year, and wood has a particular growth energy. So the dragon already is very powerful and very unpredictable. It can move through water, through earth, through sky. And then when you add this wood energy, it adds extra growth when you think of the power of a seed unfurling and expanding its branches all the way until it becomes a tree. So it's a lot of energy that can empower us if we're willing to pivot with it and grow and change with it. So one thing to consider is back in February, when the dragon entered the picture, it really was, like an eggshell with this little tiny baby dragon bursting its way out of the shell and emerging into the world, trying to figure out who it is, what it can do, learning how to fly, learning where it is in the world and discovering its powers. And that's a whole process that I think individually we're going through as you go through your own life. Are you constantly discovering new things about yourself, discovering new flavors of your powers and energies? So if people are feeling one of the kind of downsides of wood energy and dragon energy as well is it doesn't like to be stuck. Gets very frustrated and angry if it can't move and pivot and grow. So I'd like to give hope to people as well that if you are feeling stuck and you're looking at the calendar saying, it's already May, what have I done this year? Have I forgotten my resolutions? If you're starting to beat yourself up, just tune into being a baby dragon, new in this world, newly hatched, and there's so much potential in front of you. There's so many possibilities still open. And growth is an ongoing process. It's not a magical, you turn the calendar and suddenly you're a full-grown dragon. So I'd like to open it up to you ladies and see what images of the dragon perhaps catch your fancy or intrigue you.
Go ahead, Karen.
Well, I love the image of the baby dragon, and I'm just curious to go back to the wood dragon. You're saying that it doesn't like to be stuck. So say more about the baby dragon's potential. Like, I mean, I know that's a metaphor for people. And I can only imagine there is a lot of stuck energy, not only maybe just in people's lives, but also I'm imagining it's global. Like I sense a really stuck energy, like the polarities of people right now. Is that something that we can use for the baby dragon in these stuck areas globally? And how would we do that?
Well, it's interesting because the dragon, the zodiac, is based on the cycles of energy throughout the world, throughout time. There are 60-year cycles because there are 5 elements. So every 60 years, it's a wood dragon year. And roughly 60 years ago, we were in the turbulent 60s. So over time, the people who came up with the mythology around the zodiac did observe that, people and cultures do run on these kind of cyclical growth and then maybe stagnant, and then there's a lull before there's a big change. So I think the frustration, the pent-up energy, rather than being ashamed about it or angry about it, you can take that as a sign that something does need to change and that there's this coil of energy bound up in the stuckness that if you can work with it gently, you can potentially release all this blocked energy in whatever new direction you want to pivot in. And that even a very small pivot, if you're thinking you're walking straight ahead, that'll take you one place. If you pivot even like 1 degree and keep walking, that will take you to a completely different place than if you had. So even, the change doesn't have to be dramatic. You can just pivot even a tiny bit and see, okay, then maybe that will open up a new path to pivot. So I think collectively, we're still feeling the effects of the lockdowns, the pandemics, the global revolutions going on around the world. And it's not going to be a quick and easy solution to any of these very human problems that we've had since time immemorial. So I think one question to ask ourselves is, can I release a little bit of my pent-up energy and take one small positive step in creating something new in my life that may ripple out to other lives? So I think that's, you don't have to ask yourself how to solve the world's problems. How can I show up in the way that I want the world to be. How can I pivot to show up slightly differently and see what change might ripple out from that?
So good.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
yeah, that's so good. While you're talking, I was thinking that we should do this every 3 months for the rest of the year. I think it's a good idea because honestly, for me, I totally forgot, like literally this last past month and a half, 2 months, I forgot that I had named my dragons. That I had more than one. I had forgotten all these things. And I think this is what happens is we forget, like you said, New Year's resolutions come and go and all the things and the energy that we're in. And what is it that this wood dragon is inviting us to unearth or use in our lives to move forward, right? And to I think that's so huge, and so that's why I'm thinking it's a good idea that we continue these discussions further. What do you think about that, Annie?
Yeah, I would love that because it is an ongoing process. And one of the things about the dragon, too, is that it can, I mean, there's mythology, too, of that, like some mountain systems are, dragons sleeping underground. There are ley lines of energy connecting these dragons around the planet. The mythology around them does have a lot of subterranean aspects there, whether you're afraid of dragons from more like the Western mythological perspective, or whether you're inviting them in from the more Eastern mythological perspective. They have a lot of potency, but that potency is often hidden or behind the clouds or guarding treasure deep below the surface. So it is inviting us into this perpetual process of going deeper, unearthing more, flying beyond the clouds to see what awaits. So it is, and it is sort of a quest where, you have to show up to see the treasure. It's not like you show up one day and you're worthy of the treasure. You have to kind of build up to it. So I think it is a good idea to, it can't be top of mind every day, but to just let it percolate and check in with it periodically through the year. As the seasons change, our energy changes.
Totally. I mean, it's kind of like if you have a car, a second car or whatever, it's not a car that you drive all the time, but that you take it out for a ride,
Mhm.
right? And that you take it for a ride. And even with what Karen was saying, the collective energy that feels like there's a big, huge, because we know there's so much change happening on so many levels that what the collective is feeling right now, that blockage, Karen, that you're talking about, and how can we use the wood dragon to you know, make that change. And then what you said, Annie, with just going down and taking a little different route, just that one thing, that little change that can help, or even seeing all of the humans in the collective getting on their dragons and riding their dragons, and being willing to make the change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're game, I'd like to offer up a little mini practice
Yeah.
that might be of help to people. There are so qigong is part of traditional Chinese medicine. It's kind of meditative movement involving sometimes sound, breath, gentle stretching, but intention is very important in it. And the way I show people isn't hung up on like the perfect form. It's more getting into the being playful. And definitely if you think of a baby dragon learning to fly, it's very playful energy. So there is, if people are curious, you can go on YouTube and look up swimming dragon qigong. There are various qigong movements inspired by and evoking dragon energy that can be helpful to work and play with this year or any year. But just this very simple movement of, just feel your feet on the floor, Feel yourself in the chair, kind of connect into the earth energy supporting you. Cast your eyes up to the sky, the energy from the sun coming down, and you're the center being held by the sky and the earth. And you have all this energy bubbling up inside you to play with. And then if you just put your hands in this position and imagine that this is a dragon's head, and your whole body is part of this dragon, and just imagine with your hands what it's like to fly through the air, all these graceful, gentle pivots. And you can do this seated, you can do this standing up, but you can see how just like the slightest pivot, if you even start working your spine into it, you start feeling your flexibility and just opening up new possibilities. So this isn't the full Qigong routine, but it's something you can do anytime, anywhere, when maybe if you're waiting in line and you're feeling some frustration, or you're at your desk answering emails, feeling bogged down. Just do this for even 60 seconds and see if your shoulders are a little bit looser, if you just feel some stuck energy starting to move a little bit, and that opens up some new possibilities to play with.
That feels good. I'm glad you offered that.
Well, they'll thank you for playing along with the dragon. I'm not sure how we want to wrap up. I'm thinking about, how I'm going to be, if the first 3 months we were baby dragons, now entering the summer, we're teenage dragons.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll be calling in some rebellious teenage energy to work with. Would you like to share? Are you going to reconnect with the dragons that you named, Cornelia?
I'm absolutely gonna do that while I was, because I had them written down, and I'm definitely going to be doing that. I'm going to be, implementing this little exercise that you just shared with us here, because I think it's an important piece, especially right now, to use, all the tools that we have, and all the elements that are inviting us to make our lives better and to make things easier for us. And that wood dragon is here for a reason. So I will definitely be inviting that energy back in. And I'm glad that we decided today that we're going to do this again in 3 months. So since we were babies 3 months ago, and now we're teenagers. So I like the rebellious teenager. Don't tell me what to do.
Yes, and you can, as a dragon, you can actually shoot fire as you say that. So yeah. It's powerful energy to evoke.
It's good. It's good. It's kind of, for anything that's like negative that you want to clean up, or, that you want to fly above, or that you don't want to see in the world, like violence or whatever, is that I don't want the violence, and I'm going to use that dragon energy to neutralize the violence.
Well, there's definitely an element, it's kind of mythologically very similar to the phoenix, which, literally burns to ashes and then comes back in a new form from the ashes. So again, I would encourage people who are feeling burnt to a crisp, burnt out, maybe the past few months have just been things falling away and you're feeling a little bit adrift. Just picture after a forest fire, all those fresh green shoots rising. And oftentimes the forest needs periodic fires to stay healthy. So again, I would offer that wood energy as a ray of hope, that even when things look grim, there's this energy beneath the surface waiting to help us heal.
Love that. Love that. Karen, do you want to do you have anything that you want to ask Annie, or?
No, I just think I think it was very helpful. And Annie, maybe when you do come on next time, I think the exercise is really helpful, and maybe even having one person who might be on with you to just kind of take them through a little bit of that next phase would be really interesting for me, at least. I would love to see that. Because I just think the teenage dragon has great energy also. And so you've inspired me to put out a little, zing of fire and do a little transforming, because that's what I see when I think of fire. It's like a transformational kind of energy. So yeah, I have something I have in mind. So thank you for that.
Great. I'm happy was of help.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. That's awesome. Annie, do you want to tell the audience how they can look you up on social media? I know that you have a Facebook community. Why don't you just quickly share, how people can follow you on social media?
Sure. On LinkedIn, I'm under Annie McDonnell, LAC, for licensed acupuncturist. And on Facebook, I'm also there. I have a Facebook business page under my Joy Alchemy Acupuncture. And on Instagram, I'm at Acupuncture Annie. So I'd be happy to connect with you anywhere. And if you're curious, I do virtual sessions called Dragon Quests, where it's 60 minutes of going deeper into this dragon energy with sound, breath, movement, some qigong, some acupressure on very potent cosmic dragon points. So I'd be happy to share more about that if anyone's interested in connecting.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for, coming on today and for sharing your gifts of brilliance with us. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you again next time. Take good care. Thanks, Karen, for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I do have to go, but that felt really good. So
that felt good. You did a great job, Annie. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good day.
Bye-bye.